Hey guys, so I was exchanging messages with a couple of people this morning, which they expressed the same thing. And as often happens, if I realise if one or two or three people have got the same question or expressing the same thing or checking something, there'll be other people who are thinking or feeling the same. And this particular thing was that they couldn't do proper press ups, or that they were doing a somehow improper version of it. And I completely get that. I completely get that there's this perception out there that a press up is when you're on your toes and your hands and your chest is all the way to the floor, and anything else is a perhaps improper press up. From my point of view, the fitness industry can often get a little bit too hung up on what is often referred to as movement standards, a strict definition of what does and doesn't count as an exercise. And I completely get that has value when we're looking at, say, fitness competitions, when people are competing against each other to see how many or how quickly they can do of certain exercises. There needs to be standardization there. It can't be that someone wins a competition because they've done a different version of an exercise. So movement standards have their place. But for the vast majority of people, I'm not too concerned. There is a continuum of variations of any exercise, whether that be depth, how far we can go into it, the version of it, the range of movement in some joint. But ultimately, anyone can do a press up. From my point of view, if I were to lean back against that mantelpiece there and push back and forth, that's a press up. It's a relatively low intensity version of a press up, but I am pressing up. Anything really where you have your hands stable and you're pushing your body backwards away from it and then returning towards your hands is a press up. That is, again, a relatively low intensity one. You can go flatter towards the floor. You can go on the floor, on your knees, on your toes. You can start to add in other versions, etc. But they're all press ups. No one of them is any more or less a press up because we're pressing up on all of them. Same with other exercises. Squats. Some people will say if you don't squat to parallel, it's not a squat. To me, the second your knees and hips start to flex, to bend, it's a squat. Ideally, over time, we'll help people squat a little bit deeper, maybe a bit more pain-free if that's the situation, but they're all squats. So if you ever think you can't do an exercise, chances are you probably can. You're maybe not doing what some hold up to be the yardstick version of it, and maybe you will over time, maybe you won't, but you are doing that exercise. If you can get so your hands and toes are on the floor and stand back up again, you can do a burpee. If you can put your hands on something and bend the elbows and push back, you can do a press up. If you can bend your knees and hips, you can do a squat.